Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another day of Off the Board. Today's pin is a little bit different. Well, it's similar to some of the other ones, but it is, I'm not even sure. I put it in my architectural type of board, but I don't know what it really is. Maybe it's a print, but it has this texture to it that I just love. And so I decided I wanted to try to recreate that same kind of feel. And it's not going to be exact, of course, but I wanted the same kind of feel. So what I'm using is some DreamWorks embossing paste, and I got this from a friend of mine. It's kind of interesting stuff. It's a matte finish. It feels kind of foamy when it dries, and you can bend it. It's pliable, but it acts like a resist. So I thought I was just going to use this paper as a white sheet of paper with all of this texture on it. And so I did this actually a couple of weeks ago, and it's been sitting in my pile of stuff waiting for the right photo. And I thought these photos from the Cirque du Soleil Volta production would be perfect. But then I decided to add some blue ink. And so originally I was going to leave it white, and then when I got my pictures, figured out what pictures I wanted, I decided to pull out some of the Distress Stain Spray in Blueprint Sketch. And what I really should have done here from the beginning is just sprayed it like I am now. Because what happens is the spray goes right over the top and lands perfectly. But once I add like the water and the paintbrush, it kind of like saturates the whole paper even underneath the mixed media. And so the mixed media doesn't come out as white in those areas when I rub this baby wipe over the top of it. So in case you're wondering why some areas are a little more blue than others, that's why. And when I flip my paper over, you will see the areas that are super saturated. Those are the areas that had the water and the ink on my paintbrush versus the ones that are sprayed. But it's okay. I still like how it comes out, and I'm still happy about it. I decided to add some gold to it. Originally, I thought I was going to just drip some gold across it. And that plan kind of went by the wayside as well. I started out just by going ahead and doing what I thought I should do. And I wasn't really happy with the way it was looking. So then I just started brushing it on all the way around the edge. And what I'm using is Liquitex acrylic ink. And it's a nice gold. It does, I'm really good about putting my paintbrush right back in the water and rinsing it off. If I left it on the paintbrush, I'm pretty sure it would probably kill my paintbrush. But because it is ink, it's not, I don't know that it's actually water-based. I actually did not read the label on it. And this is like one of the, probably the first or maybe the second time I've actually played with it. So, but I really like the look of it all the way around the edges. It kind of has that burnished, tarnished kind of look, I guess, is maybe the right description. So that makes me pretty happy. I'm not super worried about the middle because I have several photos. So the middle is actually going to get covered up quite a bit. But I thought I'd play with it and see if I could make it a little bit more to my liking. And like I said, a lot of that's going to get covered up anyway. So I will go ahead and wipe the gold ink off of the white squares with another baby wipe just to kind of clean it up, because I want to try and keep those areas as clean as possible, or as white as possible. So there's how it looks. I don't know why it looks kind of washed out. I think it's probably the time of day because this is later at night, so there's less light in the room. It looks a little more washed out than it did in the prior portion of the video here. So it is still pretty bright. I think the prior portion is a little bit more accurate than this portion. So the photos I have are from the Cirque du Soleil Volta production that my husband took me to in 2020. It was either 2020 or 2019. And if it was 2020, it was right before shutdown. I kind of think it was 2019. But anyway, it wasn't that long ago in, in all honesty, in when you're as old as I am. 2 years is not that long ago. Anyway, so I decided to do kind of this modified grid, and I like how it's looking, and I actually really like using a modified type of grid design. with my photos, and then that bottom right-hand corner is going to be my journaling area. Now I pre-cut down, there you can see the back where all the blue went through on the one side. That's where I had all the ink. I had pre-cut down my paper that I did all of the mixed media on. I cut it down by 1/4 of an inch on two sides so that I have 1/8 of an inch reveal all the way around it. And the reason I did it before I did any mixed media is because I find it a lot easier to do it before the paper is warped, because I can actually cut it straight. Once the paper is warped, there's no telling if it's going to end up straight or not. It's kind of a struggle. So I highly recommend that you do it prior to doing your mixed media if you think you're going to want that little edge frame all the way around it. Now I stuck a stack of paper on top of it. First I used the cover from one of the Vicki Boutin foundation papers and stuck it down because it's plastic. It's not going to like stick to the top of the layout. And I did that because I want my layout to dry flat, and I had used liquid adhesive, as you saw, to adhere the mixed media paper down to the black paper. And that mixed media paper that I used is not actually mixed media paper. It's just some plain old cardstock. So it's nothing fancy. And so I like how it's looking, and it is actually staying pretty flat. And I find that if you get your whole paper wet, it has a better chance of going flat than if you just have like one big circle in the middle that is wet. You end up with more ripples. So I think because the fibers in the paper all expand, maybe at the same, I don't know if it's at the same rate, but they all expand together. If the whole thing is wet, they all shrink back down in a more flat, I guess, maybe that's not the right word. They all shrink down together at the same speed, and it lays flat better. So that is my experience. You might have like the whole paper may have a little bit of a curl to it, but it doesn't have that waviness to it. So then I pulled out my box of gold because there's a lot of gold in these photos. The main clown, and I'm air quoting clown because if you've ever seen Cirque du Soleil, they're not like your typical clowns, but there's usually one character or two characters that like go throughout the whole production, and they are usually the comic relief. The guy who is playing that part, he is dressed all in gold. The girl that is doing this swinging thing from her hair in that top middle photo, she has a lot of gold on as well. And so that's why I decided to go for gold. And in fact, the title of my layout is not really together. It's that very first photo. It just says Volta on it, and it is purple and gold, or kind of that bluish purple, neon blue, I guess. And so I like how that looks. And I'm pretty happy with how this turns out. I am going to definitely use my T-square ruler just to make sure that entire block is squared on the page and not tilted. And then I'm using my liquid adhesive because when you're working with mixed media, it is much better to use your liquid adhesive because you have a better chance of everything staying adhered to your mixed media than if you use your tape runner. So it's just the nature of the beast. And I prefer to use Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. It is my favorite liquid glue. I use it for quite a lot. It comes out in a very thin line. It holds well, and it dries fairly quickly. So I have this clear sticker that says the best, and I put it on this, the final act of these two guys that are doing the swinging act. I put it on that sticker. It's a clear one, and it just says the best in gold. And I like how this is coming together. I am going to use the little journaling spots. One of them has a spot for the date, and then I'm adding these puffy asterisks to the embellishment areas. I've got kind of a diagonal design going on here. Totally happy with that. It gives me just 2 embellishment areas rather than 3, which is totally fine. I have no problems with that, and that is pretty common with a diagonal design. So while I do my journaling a little bit there, I'll tell you to go check out everyone else who's playing along with Off the Board. There's several people that have been playing all month long. Crystal Barrett at Pineapple Papers, she has definitely been playing along because this is her baby and her series. So go and check her out. And all of those links are in my description box down below. I am adding, as a last little thing here, a QR code because I have a little bit of video from it. It's a very short bit of video, but I do have a little bit of video from the show, and so I want to be able to scan that QR code when I see this page and just have a little quick reminder of a couple of the acts. And I am super happy about that. I do this on several of my layouts, and if you're interested in knowing more about that, I have a video from January 1st of 2021 that tells you how to do a QR code, and you can go ahead and look that up on my channel. I will try to remember to link that down below so that you can get to that easily as well. And I think it's a great way to bring video into your scrapbooks because otherwise it just lives on your computer and we don't get to see it. And so this way you get to see it down the road. So there's the finished layout. I hope that you have enjoyed today's project. Come back tomorrow. I am going to be finishing out the month strong and completing all 31 days of Off the Board. And so if you missed anything, feel free to go back and check out those videos as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the time you've spent with me. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.